What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. What's good with you? I hope it's all good. My name's GB. This is Slain by Force, video series where we get to know this machine that is the Force. Up to this point, we've been doing some basic things. We did an overview of the software and the hardware. We talked a little bit about the GUI. We did a little bit of browsing. We're going to start it off today, again, with some basic things. And this is just me doing workouts on this machine, sharing my process with you, and hopefully getting you to share some of your knowledge with me. So, with no further ado, let's keep it moving.
All right, y'all, I know you came here to learn how to make beats on machine, to make some music, to have fun, but we're going to do none of that until we talk about boring old preferences. It's like
you see here.
All right. So that's what we're talking about today, our preferences. If you don't know how to get to your preferences, first thing you have to do is open an empty project. Then you want to go to your menu button and your preferences, top right corner. And as you can see here on the left,
there's different tabs that'll take me to different areas and allow me to change certain settings. Now, one of the first things I'm going to want to do is determine where is my audio being output from. So the tab that I have selected here is the audio tab. In here, I can see this top area is my audio device. So I'm able to independently select the audio input device as well as the audio output device.
All right, and that's what we're talking about today, audio output. Our audio output device. I very frequently see people ask on the forums which external mixers work with the Force. So I wanted to share with you guys which USB compatible mixers I have that work with the Force. And then I wanted to share with you guys how to hook one up, just in case a beginner didn't know how. You'll find early on in this production that not all wires are created equal. So I want to share with you guys which wires you might need to hook up a mixer. Starting off with this Mackie Pro FX12. First thing you're going to need is a printer cable or the standard USB cable. I'd recommend if you're buying a USB cable like this, standard USB, you should make it an adaptable one. This is USB-C to printer and USB-C or USB to printer. That way I can use it on USB computer or your standard computer. The next cable you're going to need is an audio cable. You need a 1/4-inch cable like this. It's going to be a dual 1/4-inch to a single stereo. So you want dual mono to single stereo. And you know this is mono because it has a single ring around the plugs, and this one has a dual ring around the plugs. So we're going to plug that into our main output. Going to plug the back of that into your Force. Next cable you're going to need is your standard RCA cable. Well, in this case, we're going to use an RCA cable because it's going to go into our audio interface so we can hear what's coming out of this mixer. I'm going to put that into the tape out. Now, we're going to start plugging in our devices, and this is where the cables get to be really important. Let's start off right here with this Vocal Beats. Here, this Vocal Beats has an 1/8-inch plug, and we have to go into our 1/4-inch mixer. So you're going to need an adapter, like one of these. But it's important to pay attention to which adapter and which cable that you're buying. This cable is a dual ring cable, as this is, so you know it's stereo. Be careful not to buy any mono cables when you want stereo signals. So we're going to plug that into our vocal beats. Next cable we're going to use is this USB-C to dual 1/4 inch. And that's going to allow us to go out of our TP7 into a left and right on this mixer. Next cable we're going to need is this RCA to 1/8 inch. And that's going to go into our mixer, our turntable in this case, into the tape in. And the last cable we're going to use is something like this cable, which is an 1/8 inch stereo to a dual 1/4 inch mono. And we're going to go from our OPZ to 2 channels in on this mixer. And now we have our device connected. Let's power it up.
Right now I'm only concerned with the output device. If we look here, here's a chooser box, and once we click this will show us the relevant options. Most of you will probably be using your built-in output right here.
You might just be using the built-in sound card that comes with your computer. That's all fine and dandy, but...
Alright, so most of us are just using the built-in sound card that comes with our computer. But now that we've got all these sounds hooked up, or these devices hooked up, let's see if we can use our force with these external devices. So I'm going to start off with the vocal beats. And we got action. We've got our OPZ. And we've got our TP7. And we've got our deck. Okay, so how do we use our force with all these things? Now again, we have this chooser box here, and once you have your mixer connected, you can double click on the box and there's no mixer. That happens sometimes, and if that happens, you have to go to the menu, start a new project, empty project, menu, preferences, audio device, double click, and there's our Bluetooth mixer. Now when we play something from the force, we don't hear anything because it's coming through the mixer. The mixer has its own dedicated USB input now. And that's the first mixer that I want to show you guys that works with the force. Here's the next one. Okay guys, the next mixer I want to show you guys is this Alesis Pro 8. This Alesis Multi-Mix 8 USB. It's a pretty old mixer. I've had it for a long time. It's even got some dust on it. I don't know if y'all can see that. Pretty dusty. But nonetheless, it works pretty well. So we're going to hook this one up just like we did the Mackie Pro 12. And we have our 1/4 inch to RCA, and this time we're going to take up 2 channels on this mixer because it doesn't have 2 channels for each individual side. If that makes sense to you. So now we're going to turn this thing on. Start off with our vocal beats again. Okay, so we've got our vocal beats hooked up. Let's check out our TP7. Coming in the tape track. Nice. All right, let's check out our OPZ. Alright, our OPZ coming through 2 channels because it's taking up 2 and 3 because it does this mixer, unlike the Mackie Pro 12, doesn't have 2 channels for 1. So we have to use the left and the right. And you need both of those to get audio. So we're using the left and the right of this one because it doesn't have 2, a left and a right per channel. And that's what makes the Mackie a little bit better than this Alesis Multi-Mix 8. But now our force is still defaulted back to its internal. So just like before, you want to click on the chooser box and there's no mixer. You're going to have to start a new project to get the force to recognize a mixer after you disconnect one. Okay, so now we've got this audio turned down. If we want to hear the sounds from the force in the mixer, we have to push this 2-track button. Let's turn that down a little bit. an internal effect on this. And let's send it to the drums. There it is. So obviously the effects of the mixer affects our sounds as well. The effects only affect the sounds that coming through the mixer though, not what the force is doing. Okay, that's the second mixer that I wanted to show you guys that works with the force. I'm going to show you another one. And again, the difference between the Mackie and this one is that you had to use 2 channels to play our OPZ here. Otherwise, we were able to use just 1 channel on the Mackie Pro 12. So, the difference between using the Mackie Pro 12 and using the Alesis 8 is that we were able to route more things to individual channels, obviously because this is a smaller mixer. But with the Mackie Pro 12, it had 2 RCA channels for each individual track, as opposed to this 8-track mixer, you had to use 2 RCAs for individual tracks because it didn't have 2 for 1, if you're following me. Next, I'll show you another mixer and how to hook that one up. This mixer off, turn everything down on the mixer. And then I turn it off. Okay guys, the next mixer I want to show you is this JBL Active 1. This thing, we're going to plug it up just like the others. It's got the same USB plug in the back. We're going to plug in our deck to the RCA on this thing. we're going to plug in our OPZ, 2 channels. Oh, see, that's the problem. Every time we get a different mixer, every time we reduce in size, we need more inputs. So I can plug in our Volca Beats into B, and I could plug in our TP7 into C, but then we're maxed out. Now I don't get to have my OPZ plugged in. So let's just go ahead and turn this off. Turn our devices on, and let's turn our mixer on. Again, as you notice there, whenever you disconnect from a mixer, the force will automatically default back to the internal mixer. Let's turn on this active one, have our input turned down. We're going to do the same thing and plug the output from this active one to the output input of the force. Okay, we've got our active one all hooked up now. I've got all the cables plugged in. I've got our devices set up. Let's see if we can hear it. To hear anything from the active one, you have to monitor it through one of the buttons here. And let's see if we can hear our bell. There it is. But we're only getting one side of the audio because I'm using a mono cable. So let's see if I can hear it. And that's what I was talking about earlier with mono and stereo cables. So let's go from here, which is a stereo cable, back into here. And see what this sounds like. There we go. Now we're hearing what's coming through our JBL. And what makes this one so cool is that's an awesome expansion to the force. Is this has 2 headphone outputs, it's got 4 inputs, and 2 different monitor outputs, so you can have 2 sets of speakers, if you will. Alright, that's our A deck. Let's see if we can hear B. There we go. And so you can turn things off, on and off on this mixer by the push of a button. TP7 next. And so the last thing on this mixer is D, and that enables you to hear what's coming through the digital. So to hear what's coming, to send our force through the D, you have to double click and go down there, and now what's playing through the force will come out of the JBL, and you can see it. Turn it up and down. This mixer feels really nice, and this volume knob is real nice. Alright, and so again, if you want to hear another one of these tracks, you just push the button. Let's check the other deck. Whoa, 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 whoa. going for these cool tracks. Alright, and again, if you want to hear something else, you just push the button. Alright, so that's the third USB compatible mixer that I want to show you guys that works with the Force. I'm going to stop this, got everything stopped. I'm going to turn it off. Our Force will default back to the internal audio. There it is. When you unplug the device, it will default back to the internal. Not when you turn it off. Alright guys, so the next mixer I want to show you is the Keith McMillan K-Mix. Keith McMillan K-Mix has a couple different plugs on the back, not your standard USB, but nonetheless it has two plugs, one that says computer, one that says audio. We want to use the one that says audio and go into our Force. Now we're going to plug up these external devices. First thing we're going to plug up. Now the thing with the Keith McMillan K-Mix is it doesn't have RCA plugs, so we can't use our deck anymore. Only the 1/4 inch RCAs. And now we're going to go into 3 and 4 on that one, and 4 and 5 on this one. So we should have these 3 devices connected. Let's get the audio out. I'm going to go out of the K-Mix into our mixer. Let's see if we've got audio. Track 1. And the headphone volume. Nice. Alright. So that's the Keith McMillan K-Mix, USB powered, running directly off the Force. And look how small that thing is. Oh, I shouldn't have picked it up. But look how small that thing is. Now let's hear our TP7. We put the TP7 in 3 and 4. The thing about the Keith McMillan K-Mix is that each track has its own trim, so we might need to turn those up. Oh, I'm sorry, that was in 4 and 5. Oh, 5 and 6. 5 and 6.
We wanted to provide you with this fantastic 10-inch line for your creative soul to digest.
Side A contains loops and elixir for you to live.
We're getting it just through 5, but I know we ran it through 5 and 6.
You might discover other sounds.
Desperately awaiting your manipulation.
Alright.
And no matter what your
And next
musical
we have
taste
our
is,
OPT.
this record should have a sound that will fit your style.
Let's start sampling.
I'm not sure why I'm getting these mono signals on my stereo course. Can you guys tell me that? I don't know. Ah, there we go. Alright. Now, we've got our audio set up through our Keith McMillan K-Mix. Everything sounding like it's supposed to be sounding. But we're not running our force through the K-Mix yet. We're still hearing it through the internal sound. So in order to hear it through the K-Mix, you want to double click, and it's not there. Again, sometimes you have to start a new project. Empty project. Menu button, preferences, audio device. Double click, and there's our K-Mix. Turn the audio down on your force before you do that, or you're going to get this bleeding because it's coming back in. Now, we have everything playing, and we can hear the sounds from our force through the K-Mix. Just like that. But what makes the Keith McMillan K-Mix so cool is that it is also a MIDI controller. So, if you put the K-Mix into MIDI mode by pushing Shift and a diamond, and then you go to the menu button and you push MIDI Learn, we're going to add in, we want to control the plug-in, we want to control the volume of that plug-in, and we want to learn it. And then you want to change it on your force or your Keith McMillan K-Mix. Now, to get this to work, you have to go back to the preferences, go back to the audio control. Learn. Delete this. Learn. Audio control. So whenever you do this, you want to go back to your preferences. You want to make sure that your Keith McMillan K-Mix is set to audio control and control surface. Then when you go back and you push your MIDI learn, and you've learned that channel, you want to unclick it. Now you can go back to your mixer. And so, let's do this. We've got our K-Mix running. Now I'm going to play something from the force. Right? I'm going to make it an empty clip. Let's go up to 150 just to match what's happening here. Alright, 160. Let's start the clip. Launch mode. Launch. Go to clip so we can see it. Let's record that. Okay, we're going to put this back into launch mode. And I'm going to record that. Again, makes the Keith McMillan so cool is that it's also a MIDI controller. So you can see, we recorded that. And I can go back and record and control the volume of the vocal beats.
Contains loops and licks for you to live.
All right, that's the Keith McMillan K-Mix. I think it's a really, really cool mixer. There's been a few cool mixers today. Which mixer do you think has been the coolest so far? Do you think you'll pick up the Keith McMillan K-Mix? Do you think you'll pick up a JBL Active 1, the Mackie Pro 12, an older school USB Alesis Multi-Mix 8? Which mixer do you think you would cop at this point? I've got one more mixer that I want to share with you guys. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to hook it up. I'm going to disconnect the power from our Keith McMillan K-Mix. And again, it falls back to the internal device. All right, one more mixer. Okay, now I have the Akai AMX. And just like before, we're going to load an empty project, go to Menu, Preferences, Audio Device, and there's our Akai AMX. Now anything that we play is coming out the Akai AMX. The AMX is Bluetooth powered. The AMX is also USB powered. So when you plug it into the Force, it automatically turns on. And when you unplug it from the Force falls back to the internal device. Alright guys, so the last mixer I want to share with you is the Teenage Engineering TX6. I'm going to plug it into our audio interface again. I already did that. I'm going to plug our devices into it. Again, the thing with the TX6 though is that it doesn't take all your traditional inputs. So all you can use with a TX6 are your 8-inch inputs. And Teenage Engineering has made it real hard to use a regular 8-inch input with a standard size plug, if you will. You got to use a really small one if you want to use all 6 inputs of this thing. But we're going to go into line 1 here with our TP7. We're going to go into line 2 with our Volca Beats adapter removed. And as you can see, those two barely fit. That Volca Beats really just takes up all the space. And I think if I didn't have another small one, it wouldn't go fit next to that. So this time, I'm gonna plug up this. Actually, I'm gonna switch these out. And we're gonna put this, and I'm gonna show you this ain't gonna fit. See, that ain't gonna fit. Now I gotta go, and even that seems like I'm stretching it, so I'm gonna go over there. Go over there. Yeah. You really got to use those small cables if you want to use the TP7. Now let's turn the TP7 on, see what we got. Oh, let's not forget to plug it in to our force. So, you plug the TP7 in, just like any other mixer, but this is a convertible plug, so it's got micro USB and USB-C. So we're going to plug that USB-C in. Boom. And let's power it up. And as you can see, we're getting audio input already from the Volca Mix or Volca Beats. Nice. And our TP7. Very simple. And last but not least, what the hell did I plug in there? Oh, our OPZ. So what happened there is I think the TP7 is thinking that's a mono channel. Let's see. If I unplug this and plug it back in, yes, I have to pick it stereo. Now, it's still hearing it mono. Let's try that one more time. Huh. All right, let's try something else. Let's see if this works. That goes again to show you guys how proprietary Teenage Engineering chords are. Not every chord is created equal. That's what I started this video with. So, if I want to plug up something else into this, I need another micro chord, really. But we still haven't hooked up our TX6. We're hearing the sounds from our force still through the internal. So, same thing, we got to go to the menu button, preferences. Turn this guy down, and you can see our TX6, and let's sync it. Oh, sorry, we want to go to the audio device. We're not there yet. Let's go to the audio device. There's the TX6, and now we're sending our sounds through the TX6. But what makes the TX6 so cool, which I just kind of alluded to, is that the TX6 is also MIDI compatible. So you can go to your MIDI sync settings and you want to go to outputs and you want to push sync. And so if you have something that you created on the TX6, a synth song for example, let's turn that down because we're at 160 BPM. You can start and stop that from the force. Let's go to our MIDI clock, not BLE, USB. Now when we start and stop, turn the volume or the tempo up and down. But what makes the TX6 really cool is that, let's stop this. We can disconnect it from the force, and you see it's returning to the internal device. So we're no longer using the TX6's audio. Now if we're using the force's internal audio, but we can still hear the sounds from the TX6 and the force because they're both plugged into our audio interface. The TX6 didn't start because it's no longer connected, obviously. But if we go back to our menu button and we go to Preferences and we go to Bluetooth MIDI, let's actually go to your TX6. Now, there's our TX6 in the BLE settings. So I'm going to accept it or pair it. And now it's connected MIDI Bluetooth. And so when I disconnect the TX6, it's still connected via MIDI Bluetooth. But now I want to go back up here to the clock settings and I want to change the source to BLE. So now when I start and stop the force, it will start the sequence from the force and the TX6. Well, what happened? You got to go back to your sync settings and you got to sync it again, Bluetooth. So we can start and stop. And that's what makes the TX6 so cool. So there's a lot of cool mixers that work with the force. Those are the 6 mixers that I know that are USB compatible with the force and one that's MIDI compatible with the force. I hope that you guys found this video informative. I hope that you took something from it. Let me know in the comments below which mixer that you might go out and hook up with your force, or even let me know which mixer you're using with your force now, and even why you do, and if you have all kinds of gear hooked up with it. My name's GB. This is Slaying by Force. Thanks for checking me out.